have you ever felt like you're doing everything right and you're still wondering why nothing is kind of feeling right? Like it's just not aligning here. Maybe you're dating again. Maybe you're meeting men who say they want a traditional relationship, but somehow they expect you to plan the date. They expect you to carry the conversation and do all the emotional heavy lifting. I am going to go off on this today. I cannot wait. Maybe you are just looking around at your life after 40 and realizing the path you thought you'd be on isn't the one that you're actually walking. So if you've ever found yourself asking, now what? Then this episode is for you, you guys. I'm Andrea Keninoi. This is From Mrs. to Ms. that you're listening to. It is the podcast where we are helping men and women rediscover themselves after divorce, heartbreak, and life's unexpected plot twists. Mwah. Speaking of unexpected plot twists, I have my friend Amy here again with us today. Amy Watts is joining me. She's been on many times with me before, and you need to go back and listen to all of those episodes. She is so good. We have such great conversations, and we riff so well off of each other, don't we? Hi, my friend.
Hello, I have missed you and so glad to be back on here. Yeah, I cannot wait to dive into the juicy stuff. Our little pre-recording conversation today. Y'all, there is some juice in here. So hold on, stay tuned and listen closely.
Hold on. That is it. Stay tuned. I've got some really good stuff. You know, her and I talk more like a conversation. This is not going to be an interview. We're just going to shoot the shit, but we're going to be honest about what happens when you stop living by everyone else's rules and you start creating a life that feels more authentic. That's where her and I are both at right now. And so we could not be more aligned for this episode. So we are going to talk about dating. We're going to talk about expectations, traditional roles, reinvention, and why sometimes the greatest freedom comes from realizing you just don't have to follow a script. So, okay, here we go. Amy, one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation with you is because I have been questioning so many things lately. I can't remember if I've really mentioned that I am single again. My last relationship didn't quite work out the way I hoped it would. That was my doing. So I'm in a really great space about it. I would be either way, to be honest, because it just wasn't right for me. But I've been dating again. So I want to kind of talk about that. Is that okay?
Let's do it. So first of all, congrats on finding a space that feels aligned and ditching any expectations and scripts, which is kind of the direction we're going to go today. But
Yes.
congrats to you for finding a place that just feels true to you in this season and not forcing yourself into a role. You know, you mentioned traditional roles in dating. Can I start off with a question for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. Define that. What from your perspective, what are
Yeah.
traditional roles in dating? Yeah.
Okay. So I grew up, my parents were older. They didn't have me till 40. My mom was 40 when she had me. So I feel like I witnessed a very different relationship with them. They were married for 45 years. My dad was the caretaker in every sense of the word. So he was all of those things, the provider, the protector, the supporter, all of those things. My mom never even got gas in her own car. I don't think I've ever seen her get gas in her car. My dad drove everywhere. Like that was the thing. So I remember when I first got like married and my ex-husband was like, we were going out somewhere and he's like, you drive. And I looked at him like, what the fuck are you talking about? I ain't driving. You're the man, you know? And so I think they kind of set me up for that. I love chivalry. I love a man to take the lead. That is super attractive to me. And I just feel like in the sense of traditional roles, I'm not in the way like that I want to sit at home. I don't want to be like a trad wife. I don't want to sit at home and do nothing all day, but like clean the house and have his dinner ready and appease to every little thing that he wants. I am super independent. I want to work. I want to build my empire. I want to do what I want to do, but I want the security of a provider, a supporter, a man that plans things. I want the hunter. I'll be the little gatherer. I just want to feel feminine. That's a big thing for me. Anyone that's listened to all my episodes, that has been a constant where I've not felt feminine in a multitude of my relationships because I'm an extrovert. I can be dominant. And I like to be in control. So I've really tried to soften this side of me and really try to be a lot more feminine. And so to me, the traditional relationship that I'm looking for is for the man to be the man when I need him to be the man, and to let me just be the woman and just relax a little bit, do my things, let him kind of take the lead on everything. That's what I'm looking for.
You have such clarity around that. This is the opportunity we have to like choose our own adventure, right? If
Yeah.
we want to pull in, as you just said, some of those traditional values and roles, yes,
Hmm.
and also
Hmm.
let me release what part of that you're not trying to sit at home and be, the homemaker, kind of as you said
No.
there. You get to pull in, you have this world. We get to create, everyone listening, every woman listening. We get to
Yes.
create our space where we are in our masculine, right? Building the
Hmm.
empire, exactly as you said, right?
That's it.
Running the businesses, building the empire, being the badasses that we are out in the world, and having this safe place to come home to where we feel
Yes.
nurtured and protected and cared for, and we can shift into our feminine energy. And as we know, allowing that, when we have a man that allows that, creates that
Hmm.
space for us, that allows them to be able to move into what their inherent masculine, role is in that relationship. So it sounds like you're going to create some beautiful symbiosis in whatever is next for you. And that clarity, girlfriend, bringing that in is so key for you. You're in a prime spot.
I'm in a prime spot, and I'm going to say this has been a journey. It has been a marathon. And this is not something that I just, got divorced, woke up and was like, oh my God, I know exactly what I want. I have a vision of my man. I know who I need to be. I know what I want to do. That didn't happen at all. It was a journey. And I want to really emphasize that because it's okay to go through that, and you're going to have your falls and you're going to have your steps back, but you're going to learn so much along the way. And as everything progresses, let me tell you that one of the stories that I am going to talk about at one point is this man that I've been, kind of hanging out with a little bit. And the best part of all of it for me was that he said to me the other day, he said, "You are an amazing woman," which he could have stopped right there and I've been like, "Thank you, sir." But then he went
And
on
you're
to
right.
say, duh. He went on to say, he said, "What I really am admiring about you and I find so attractive is that you are this independent woman and you are so grounded in where you're at and what you want." And he said, "But you exude this sense of sensuality and femininity." And it brought me to tears when he said it because, I could feel myself tearing up because I have worked so hard. I've been divorced since 2017. This has been a marathon. So striving to get to a place where somebody recognizes that without me having to use the words and be like, "So don't you think I'm this or that?" He just saw that in me and he nailed it on the head, exactly what I have been striving to be. And he saw that and felt the need to even tell me that. And that was everything to me. I mean, huge.
Yeah, Andrea, the gold in what you just said is that
Mm,
two things. Number one, you have embodied that. And you just clarified that distinction by saying, I didn't have to say, well, look at me, look at what I'm. No, you don't have to
no.
call it out. You exude it, you embody it. This is now who you are. And the second
Hmm.
piece of that is, and thank you, everyone listening can thank you for pointing out the fact that, a lot of times when we hit, let's call this relationship success that you're describing right now, right?
Yeah.
Like understanding what
Yeah.
you want, where you are. So, and it's similar to,
Relationship with myself success.
oh,
Really,
okay,
right?
hold that thought because we're coming back into
Yeah.
that one for sure. Stick around. Um,
Yeah.
the other piece of that, though, being that people love to see the end result. They want the result, but they don't want the process. And you
Yes.
said a couple of times, this has been a marathon and a learning experience with a lot of bloody knees and a lot of dusting yourself off and a lot of
A lot of
deep
tears.
breaths and moving forward. But look what that persistence has got you. You are now the woman who knows with clarity what she wants and what is not going to work for her.
Yeah.
Incredible space to be in.
Thank you for
Yeah.
saying that. It's, I feel it within me. I feel lighter for some reason. And, even saying, I ended the last relationship, maybe should have come out of that feeling a little bit more, like, but I didn't. And he's a wonderful man. It was nothing to do with that. It relieved me of some big pressures that were on me in the relationship and to be a certain way. And just knowing that that's not who I am. I do not have the bandwidth to take that on of somebody else's issues and problems right now. And we keep saying that, like, we tend to try to fix people and think that we can do that. And I am just no longer looking for a project. I just want to find somebody that aligns with me, that matches with me, and that wants the same things that I do. And I will say, though, a bit of this, and it ties into the traditional values and how I'm saying protector, provider, supporter, all of those things. I want to clarify, I'm not looking for a man to take care of me. I don't need a man to pay my bills. I don't need a man to like totally take control of my life and be like, I've got this, I'm going to do all this stuff for you. I'm going to give you a car. Would I want that? Heck yeah, right? Like, that's amazing. But I do not need that. And I find, Amy, it's a very thin line when I am stating what I want in a person, in a man. And even with the profiles online, it's a tricky spot to be in, because I want a successful man. But I want to clarify, for me, a successful man is someone with drive and passion and ambition. It doesn't mean he has to have $1 million in the bank. If you show me you are striving to make that million, that goes so far with me. And so I have to be real careful when I often say, I need to change up my profile and what I'm looking for, and my my range of men, my criteria, there it is, what I'm looking for, because I want to straight up put on there, I'm looking for a successful, driven, ambitious, and passionate man. I'm not looking for someone to take care of me. I'm looking for someone to match me where I see myself to be and where I'm going. And it can be tricky because people tend to take that the wrong way, look at you as a gold digger,
And the beautiful thing is, we have the right to determine what values we do want. These traditional values that we've referred to several times here, those are imposed, right? That's cultural conditioning. That's societal expectations. We get to call bullshit on anything that is imposed on us. That is my entire
Yes.
premise for my coaching business, right? Reinvention,
Yeah.
redefining life after 45. So what you're doing is you are redefining, absolutely. Amen, sister. Yes. You are by choice redefining what this looks like for you. And we all, ladies, listen, we all have permission to define exactly what we want unapologetically. My criteria is, as long as you are not causing harm to another human intentionally, you get to write your own playbook. So that's exactly what you're doing. I have a question for you too.
Yeah.
You said, I've thought about putting this on my profile. First of all, you didn't ask, but let me encourage
Yeah.
you.
To
Here's some
put it on my
unsolicited
profile.
advice. Don't put that on there, right? Leave
Yeah.
them. You'll know. But
Yeah.
so the next question then is, what are you seeing as you are back in dating now? What are you seeing are ways that you're able to discern if this person is in alignment with your vision? When you talk about their drive, it's not about how many dollars or how many pennies are in the bank, but
Yeah.
what is that internal drive? What is your purpose, your passion? So how are you determining that? Yeah.
Great question. Great question. Thank you for asking me that. So I feel like I'm moving differently this time around. I've been on apps, everybody knows this, for years, on and off, right? Like, in between, I hop back on, I see what's out there. I get frustrated fairly quick. Or in the past, I've just started, I'll go out with him. I'll go out with him. I just start, perpetually dating just to kind of fill my cup, and not really look, and also swiping on hotness over, stability or other things that might stand out to me in a different way, right? Like, my last guy I was with was Jehovah's Witness. That was so not aligned with me, but he was so cute, and so that's like really tricky. So I'm trying to be very particular in what I'm looking for, and be very granular. And I think that when I am looking for someone now, first of all, I am messing with my criteria. I'm going to say again a lot. Like, I'm looking for the tall, dark, and handsome. I'm a tall girl. I like a tall man. Of course, I like an attractive man. chemistry and sexuality and the intimacy is huge for me in a relationship. So I really like to look for that. And so I was looking for the more superficial things. And so I'm finding now, like as I'm going through the dating profiles, I'm swiping a lot less, let me tell you that. And I'm being very particular. I've even put my height requirement down a little bit because I do know that if I keep putting it at 6 feet, I mean, 86% of men out there are under 6 feet tall. So if I'm going to go over six feet and above, I've narrowed my dating pool right there on the app down to 14%. And every inch I go above that gets smaller and smaller. And then beyond that, I'm now looking for attractive. I'm now looking for somebody that's ambitious and driven. And it's just, I'm looking for a needle in a haystack and I'm really limiting myself. So I've tried to open that up a little bit. I've put my height down a little bit. I'm not comfortable just with somebody shorter than me. So I'm fine with somebody matching me, 5'9", and above. Above is great. And I'm coming down a little bit on the hotness. And I think I'm trying to find a different attraction in them, like their personality or other things that are shining to me outside of them just being so cute in their photos, because that is not really getting me anywhere. The hot men are hot men and they don't have to really do anything else. They can be lazy in dating, and I'm tired of the laziness. I want the effort. So I'm looking differently for sure.
Okay. Here's the question of the day. If I can
Yes.
ask, what is the secret sauce? I think I know. I'm a coach. This is my job, right? Is to understand.
You're doing great, by the way.
But I want to know, I want to know if you recognize what created this shift. You just described some massive changes in how you are approaching dating. This is core level, values aligned, now searching for dating. And it's a huge shift in your self-worth, I'm guessing. But you tell me, let us all know, Andrea, spill the beans. What is the secret sauce? What has created this shift?
I wish I could pinpoint the exact moment that I just felt differently, but something is shifted in me differently. It's the way I'm thinking. It's the way I'm a glass half full. I know what I bring to the table. I come and show up every date with energy and excitement to see my person, and just really sitting with myself and reminding myself of all of those things. And the biggest reminder has been, if somebody doesn't see that in me, they're not my person. I cannot make them see that. I don't want to make them see that. I want the man who is like, you are independent and grounded and feminine and sensual and all of these freaking amazing things. I want that man who sees that. And so for me, I think it's just really sitting with myself. I'm so okay with not having somebody right now and just doing me. It's been great. And trying to figure out what I do want. I find myself to be doing the a lot while I'm swiping, like on ones that, a year, 2 years ago, I would be like, hell yeah, and it's hitting me differently. I'm just working on myself and I feel the shift, Amy. I do. It's everywhere. It's not just in my dating life. I just said this to you, I am welcoming creative possibilities for abundance in my life. And energy and money and abundance, they're all moving towards me, to me, through me, like so naturally. And I'm just trying to accept it all and be like, yes, 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 I deserve this. I deserve it. I've done the work. I deserve this. And so I think all of it coming together is what has just given me this shift. I feel it on my podcast. I feel like I'm just this different vibe, this different energy. I'm like, hell yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I'm loving it.
I'm glad you're loving it. And that's exactly what I was going to say, is that you have literally made an energetic shift. You are in a different frequency. You are now seeing the actual tangible 3D manifestation of that energetic and frequency shift, in that your business is growing, your podcasts are exploding, the Menopause Love Lounge as well as this one. And you have this clarity and you've released any attachment. It sounds like, and how many listeners can relate to this, right? I've been there as well. We talked about this in a previous episode, but how many of us can relate to, I just want to date. I just want to fill the hole. You have filled the hole, Andrea. You have filled the void and you've developed
and not with a penis.
I love it. I mean, fill it with whatever you need to. But you have filled the internal, the soul void. Let me
Yes.
say that. This is right.
Yes.
You have filled that void. You
The soul
recognize your
hole.
worth. You've tapped into it and releasing any fear around. I mean, fear is always going to exist, but
Yeah.
being in that predominant energy of self-trust and self-worth, and that is how you are showing up, that changes every fucking thing. Congrats, girl.
Yes.
So again,
Thank
to the
you.
listeners, yes, the gold here is to see this is what we teach. But you now are modeling it, this living example.
I'm walking the walk.
You're walking the walk. And
Yeah.
okay, so how's that playing out for you in dating right now?
Well, okay. So this is interesting. So, and I do want to also just say that it's not like this every day. I'm not waking up like, I do
That
wake
would be
up every
crazy.
morning. It'd be crazy. I do wake up every morning and say, today's going to be a great day. And I do 2 claps. I don't know. I've done it for years. Today's going to be a great day. Yes. And then I'm on my way. But, there's still times when it's like not as easy, or, I get rejected, or somebody doesn't do the things that I'm hoping they'll do, and making that effort. And then, it can still ping you a little bit. I'd be lying if I said I don't get a little bit of the, I was excited to meet this person and I thought they were, but they're not really showing up. They're not really making these efforts. And so a little bit of me is like, but then I am really just reverting back to not my person. I don't know. It's just, you're not for me then, he's still coming. Where is he, So with the dating stuff, this has been an experience, and maybe it's just because I'm seeing things more clearly. So I'm going to start out talking about the traditional kind of values and stuff when men say that they are traditional. So there was this dating profile I saw, right? So I'm looking at the guy's stuff. I always read first, not always. I see the first picture. If it gets me like, oh, okay, good. Then I usually try to go and read, and then I'll go back and look at their pictures, just so I'm not like really putting myself in any specific direction. I want to hear if what they say speaks to me. So this particular guy that I matched with, he had in his profile that he is all about traditional values, chivalry, said all of those things I wanted to say, that he is a provider, a protector, a supporter. He wants to be such a support to women. And I was like, boom, boom. As I'm reading, he's talking about the chivalry, the opening the doors, the putting you on the inside of the sidewalk. I love all that old fashioned stuff. I love it. I think I hate that it's dying. If, I try to find the man that it's not. I think it's sexy. And so he had put all of this stuff, and then we matched, and then in Hinge now it'll pop up, and you can put like a little note to the person that you match with saying a certain something before, and then you can choose if you want to continue the match or not, which I think is kind of cute. So on his, because he lived a little bit further away from me, it's probably at least an hour, and I like to keep it a little bit closer, but he put in there, I am a total gentleman. I have no issues driving to you. Distance does not matter to me. I don't think I'm going to find my person just right here, which I always say, I don't think your person's necessarily in your backyard, right? And I was like, again, hell yes. Like, this felt great. I felt the excitement. He was attractive though too. He was probably a good like 8.5. He was a nice looking man. Right. He was 5'11", so that was good. And he is very successful. He's in the aerospace field. So I probably narrowed him down way too much. If he's listening, I'm sorry, but you gave me the goods, sir. So I'm going to spill it. So anyways, he and I start chatting a little bit, and it was very interesting how we went about this, because we only chatted like a little bit back and forth, very briefly. And he was very quick to ask me if I want to get off the dating app and exchange phone numbers. Now, I can go all different ways on that. Sometimes I'm not feeling that vibe yet. I don't want to give you my number. Why can't we chat for a day? I don't consider a day becoming a pen pal. Let's chat for a day even, and then we can kind of go from there, and then if we're feeling it, exchange numbers. And really, a lot of people say you shouldn't even exchange until a date is scheduled and planned. So anyways, I kind of said that. I said, let's just chat on here a little bit longer. And I probably should have looked at this right off the bat, but I was like, he did kind of come back and threw his number at me and said, in case you change your mind. And then he went on to talk. Now, I didn't even acknowledge it. To me, I was a little like, sir, I already told you I don't want to do that. And Second of all, you're trying to now put me in the masculine by thinking I'm going to reach out to you first, which is not going to happen. So I completely ignored that part. In hindsight, was it maybe a red flag? Very minuscule. It was just,
Hello, maybe.
yeah, a little bit, but it depends on who's looking at it, right? Like for him, he's like, I don't want to sit on the app and do this. I'd rather get to know you, talk on the phone. Some people are like that.
And you've
So,
got some context here too, right? You're having a conversation with him. So it continued after he threw his number out. So you have additional context to decide if that's a red flag or not. Yeah.
exactly. So we went on with more conversation. The conversation was great, a lot of good back and forth. I struggle sometimes with talking or putting down that I have a podcast because for some reason, all men want to be on a podcast. I don't know why. It's like one of the first things they say, oh my God, I should be on your podcast. And I'm thinking, I didn't invite you. And why? I don't even understand. And they all then think they have the information that I've been looking for forever to help get my podcast off the ground, apparently. They just think that they know. They know what needs to be said. And then they all have stories. I'm not even joking. I think this probably 80% of the men I've dated have asked about being on the podcast. And so I kind of steer away from it. I don't want to talk about dating. And then they also kind of look at it sometimes like I think I might be a know-it-all or something, and they can find it intimidating because they feel like I'm going to be judging them on the date. Is this going to make it on the episode? Again, don't give me the goods and it won't. But
You, sir.
yeah. Thank you, sir. You're helping me out is all you're doing. So anyways, he was kind of throwing some stuff at me, but I do find that a little bit like I take things into, everything with a grain of salt that they're saying, and I listen, and who knows, maybe they do have a little bit of insight. So I was okay with that. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because this could get really long. But anyways, we now have a date planned. Oh, I was going to say that he did say to me at that point, he said, what are your thoughts on if we just went ahead and planned a date and we meet for dinner? And if you enjoy the dinner, we exchange numbers after. And I was like, I'm okay with that. Like, I would like to try that way. Haven't done that before. It's always kind of given it before, chat before. And I was like, might be a little fun, And then I said, I'd be open to that. Immediately came back with the name of a restaurant, the date, and the time. And he said to me, say the word and I'll make the reservation. And I said,
okay.
No word.
What did that offer you?
Oh, the leadership of the man taking charge, planning the date, still trying to make me feel comfortable in the sense of saying, that's fine. We won't do numbers. How about we just do this and see how that goes? I liked it. I thought that was different. It was, him taking charge, which was what I was looking for. And it was aligning with what he had on his profile. So that was like green flags.
Space. Yeah, he created that space for you to be in your feminine, and it sounds like offered some safety around it as much as you can with two strangers communicating on a dating app. But yeah,
right.
Well done, sir.
Yes, that's what I thought. Hot. And I did think safety reasons, you always got to think about that. But I was like, okay, and he picked the place in my area, which I told you he's far. So he's driving to me. And so I was like, it's a public restaurant. We're just going to meet for dinner. It's fine. I'm not going to his house or something like that, So
also,
I thought it was
had his phone number that he offered in the app, so you could still do the reverse phone lookup and all the fun things with that too. Yeah.
And I had already looked at because he told me all about his job and blah, blah, blah. So I already knew a lot more than than he had given me, actually. So so I was like, that's hot. And he was like, say the word and I'll make a reservation. And I literally responded, the word. And he came back, boom, had the date planned. I liked it. A lot. So from there, we chatted a little bit more on the phone, and that was great. In preparation for the date coming up, it was building a little bit of excitement. That was nice, And then I actually got a new dress for it. He picked a really nice restaurant. I haven't been like going out and dating. I haven't been shopping. So I bought myself a new dress that I just felt like great in. It fit me great. It was not some sexy with my boobs out and everything like that. It was form fitting, but it was very, it was higher cut on the neck. It accented the right stuff, and I felt great in it. So I messaged him and said, just FYI, I am now invested in this date. I bought a new dress, which was great until he replied with, excellent. Is it low cut? I know. And I was like,
Okay, we just took a couple points away. Keep going. Let's see what happens. Does he
yeah,
redeem himself in the end? Where are we going?
let's see. So I said, nope. But I said, but it's a beautiful dress and I'm going to look great. So don't worry. And I left it at that. I didn't try to acknowledge anything more. His response to that, which again was a little, I'm collecting data. He said, my eyes and my body are looking forward to it. So I'm thoroughly confused at this point because,
Yes, understandably.
yes, flip-flopping, right? You are one
Uh-huh.
way or you're not, because I was starting to feel, ooh, that's a little oogie, icky, all of the above. So from there, but I was like, you know what? We're doing the date. If nothing else, I'm getting a great podcast story out of it. Here we are. So so anyways, we go on the date. Okay, so I meet him, attractive man, tall enough. I know he's successful, showed up with some flowers. That was sweet. We went in, beautiful restaurant, did all that. He did like the ordering, which he did say on his profile that he's a foodie. So he really liked that. Did a lot of the ordering. It was a lot of meat. I'm not going to lie. He said he eats a lot of meat. It was all meat he ordered, but it was good. And it was a nice date until he brought up about the podcast, because now he wanted to make sure he told me everything that he knows about dating and women and what you need to do and where it's going to go, all of these
Hold
things.
on, because I
Yes.
think I missed something here, Andrea. I think I missed the
Mhm.
part where you asked him for input on the podcast.
Correct. Did
Okay.
not. Did
Okay.
not.
Just
It was offered information. Yes.
uh-huh.
And I found that interesting because there was not the desire to be asking me, about my family, where I grew up, what I like, what I don't like. Do I like movies? You know what I mean? He didn't ask me any of that. It went into the majority of the dinner conversation was about dating and his perception of it, what he takes from it, what a man looks for. And so I quickly knew, I mean, this wasn't my guy. I knew that. I was just like, and you find yourself looking at him and you're like, yeah, I mean, yeah, he's cute. Can I see myself? Can I see him with my kids? Can I see him sitting on the couch with us watching a movie? Can I see him joining us in our 30-minute review after a movie in the movie theater? You know what I mean? Like, can I see him doing these things? And it was really kind of dissipating for me pretty quickly. Because I knew, and it was so aggressive in wanting to tell me about what he knew. And it almost started to feel like he wasn't respecting what I do for a living, right? Like he knows better. And that's how it kind of felt. So I'm sorry, this is kind of a long story, but it's good.
It's good.
It gets better. So then he said to me, first of all, he said, so I watched your podcast, which I'm like, okay, I don't put the name of it on there or anything, but he found it. And he said, usually I find women podcasts very boring, but he said, but you and your friend, it was one of my friends that we were doing a recap of Age of Attraction show. And he said, but you guys are actually pretty good. You're entertaining and you kept me intrigued.
That was the epitome of a backhanded comment.
So bad. That's exactly what I said. I was like, oh, that was a backhanded comment. I literally said that. Yes, that's exactly what I thought. So, but he liked the podcast, even though he thought it was going to be boring. So anyways, so he went on to tell me, he said, I just want you to know that before we get into that, I was testing you. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, remember when I asked you about your low cut, if you were going to wear a low cut dress, and you quickly said no. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I did some, deep diving, and I ended up finding your personal Instagram, and I saw in there like over a year ago, you had like a picture of you in a bikini, probably on a cruise or something like that. And I'm like, and he said, well, I find that interesting that you'll put that on your Instagram for all the men to see and to look at. But for me, that you're coming to meet me for a date where I am going to pay for the date, pay for your dinner, and spend my time with you, you wouldn't wear a low cut dress for me.
So is this the moment when you picked up your flowers and politely or not so politely excused yourself? Because
Nope,
I'm
this was
feeling
the
violated
moment.
at this point.
Oh, I felt so objectified by him and
Yes. Yes.
so opposite of everything that he said he is and was. And at that moment, no, I switched. I was like, oh, Andrea, get your info before you leave because this is what I need. I need this criteria, this data, right? I need this to be able to put it on here and say, like, pay attention when they're saying one thing and they are acting an
Mhm.
entirely different way. We need to be paying attention to that and we need to be calling them out on that stuff,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm sure he could sense I was like, because I was giving him discourse. I was, I wasn't just like agreeing with what he said. I was pushing back, and I'm like, well, excuse me, but you maybe don't know the reason why that picture was on there. Maybe I just lost a ton of weight and I'm super proud of how I look in my body and I want to do that. Now I don't even have to explain to him why it's
Thank
on
you,
there.
because I really just wanted to jump in. It was taking everything I had to not jump in and say, and also you are obligated to justify or explain absolutely freaking nothing to
Nothing.
this
Nothing.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you want to go look on my stuff, it's like asking questions you may not want to know the answer to. You want to go deep diving, sir? We can play that game, but you don't know what you are going to find. And when you do, then that's on you for looking. I didn't have a problem with it. I'm a model. I model. What do you want me to do about it? Anyways, so that was the first one. Then he went on to tell me how he thinks that women give way too much information about themselves up front in a very early time of the day. They tell you all about their past, their dating past in particular. And he said, I'm just letting you know that if a woman tells me that she's had a one night stand in the past or hooked up with a guy, then I am absolutely expecting that that is going to happen for me on my date. Like, why would she do that over here with this guy? But I'm going to take you out for a nice dinner and you're going to tell me I need to wait till the third, fourth, fifth date. I
This
was
is such an opportune situation to ask the frequently asked question of, huh, I wonder why you're still
oh,
single, sir.
yep, that is right when I said, so you were married? Yeah, yes, he was. How long have you been divorced? 7 years. How long you been single? 7 years. Huh. I
Shocker.
know why. Yeah. Yeah. And there was no shame in saying anything he was saying to me. And then his last thing that he brought up was that in the episode with the Age of Attraction recap, my friend Ozzy is on there. She's talking about how when she came out of divorce at 40, I think she said she was 42 ish, 43, she dated a 29-year-old man. And so he said, yeah, that she said that I would never date that woman. And I said, tell me why you would not date her because she's 42 and she dated a 29-year-old man. He's like, nope, I wouldn't date that because right there, I know that she's just in it for sex. And I'm like, and she very well might have been. But I also, if you listen to the episode, she did say that they were dating for months where she actually met his family and everything. And I said, and also you're telling me if we turn that around and the woman was 29 and the man was 42, that's okay. And he said, yes, because we know then that the woman is into that older man for his money. So that makes it a different situation.
How challenging it must be to walk through the world with so many barriers and judgments against others that are really a protective mechanism because you're afraid of your own uncertainty and what exactly you want. So you're protecting yourself with all of these judgments and projections.
Drop the mic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You're so right. That is exactly what it is. And he's projecting it all onto me and trying to act like he knows how to treat a woman. And I'm going to put in there that I have all these traditional values and I know how to protect and provide and support a woman. Yet you can't even get through this date without giving me a backhanded comment and asking me
Mhm.
why I'm not wearing a lower cut dress and going to sleep with you tonight. It
So
floored me.
while I can sense this righteous anger, appropriate righteous anger from that's a judgment on my part. I think it's appropriate.
Love
Let
it.
me ask you this. So, is there a version of you that would have shrunk to fit
Mhm.
exactly the mold he was trying to put you in and contorted yourself and done the mental gymnastics to figure out how to make sure that you were conforming to his expectations? Is there a version of you that existed prior that would have done that?
Yes. And I thank you for asking me that, because that is, um, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would have. I would have I would have kind of led into his questions more. I feel like I would have probably agreed with him more. I wouldn't have been so polarizing with my responses. I would have been looking at him thinking, he's really cute though, and he's really successful. So, shut your mouth, Andrea, and just enjoy the dinner. And then, you can get another date. And well, if I need to maybe have sex with him tonight to lure him in and keep him, maybe I will. I don't know if I would have been that bad, but
But look,
definitely that would have crossed my mind.
that is the gold takeaway from this episode for everyone listening, for you to be able to example so that we can all learn, because we've all been, let me not say we've all been there. I've been there as well. But for you to present that specific contrast now of like what you would have done in the past before this work, before this incredible energetic shift that you've had, and this
Yeah.
deepening connection to self and self-love and trust and belief and worth and all of the things that we know we need before we can have a successful relationship, but we bullshit ourselves forever for 10
Mhm.
years in the dating process. But for you to be able to show that contrast, first of all, thank you on behalf of all of us out here
You're
who
welcome.
are learning to show that contrast and be able to example, this is what it looks like on the other side.
Yeah.
Holy shit,
Holy shit.
girlfriend. Yes.
Yes. And I
Powerful.
got up from that date. I took my little flowers, because I am going to say, for the successful man that he was, they could have been a lot nicer. I'm not picky on my flowers, but I say they were like carnations or something,
It was the 7.99 grocery store on the way to
if
dinner.
that.
Yep.
If
Okay.
that, yeah. And a bow, around a red like velvet bow that I don't think would have come from a store. So it begs the question, did these come from a garden somewhere?
Love it.
But we both left there, and I knew I was not interested in another date. It was not, he never said that to me. I would have to assume he probably felt the same way. There was no, like, we didn't have this chemistry, this where we were like, yeah, let's make out before we leave or anything like that. He walked me to my car, yet Mr. Traditional Man stood at the back of my car while I walked up and opened my own door. And I'm like, somebody has got this wrong. Like, he is so far off. And he did pull out the old text me when you get home so I know you're okay. And I was like, thank you for that. And so we both like left, went our separate ways. He didn't, there was no like, I'd love to do this again. I think we both just knew. And
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, it was just, I didn't hear from him again. He actually left me. We were like both just sitting on there in the thing, because I was like, how long is this guy going to sit here? And then we just like kind of swiped it off, and I was just like, but what? I mean, so many nuggets in that date that he gave me. If even the biggest one to go, Andrea, don't believe everything that you read. These men are going to put on there what they want you to hear. It's the same as them saying they want a long-term relationship when they're really looking for something casual or a hookup, because it lures you in. And so you have to make your own decisions on that. You have to weed through all the shit and the crap they say and really pay attention to the red flags and the green flags. You could even do that while you're on the phone having a conversation, make a little split down the middle on a piece of paper, things they say, ooh, that was a red flag, that was a green flag, and look at it after and really process it. This guy was so far off of who he said he was.
And can I
Really.
offer that, yes, that is a surface level value takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend, do you see that the real takeaway was you practicing and embodying and living out this shift? Like, you now have
Yes.
that distinct like line in the sand. I no longer conform. I no longer
Yep.
shrink. I no longer adjust my desires to fit a need to be accepted by this human sitting
Yes.
across the table
I
from
no
me.
longer
That
I no longer accept mediocrity. That is not
mm,
okay. The bar has moved its way up, and I'm not going below it.
and with this energetic, and I keep repeating myself, but it's so profound. Like, you've had a significant shift within that
Yes.
shift, then you were going to draw in your higher quality men. He is no longer on the same vibrational frequency as you.
It's not.
You will call in a different man. Okay. I have
Yeah.
another question. I have a lot of
Yeah.
questions today.
I know.
So we talked about the traditional roles of the guy. right? And kind of how
Yes.
we do want a little bit of a morph, right? A hybrid. Let's use that. A hybrid,
Yes.
right? With
Yes.
non-traditional, we get to define along the way roles and values, but
Mhm.
also some of this pulling in some traditional stuff. So we said that from the man's perspective, or as applicable to the guy. So
Mhm.
what do you think are the expectations on us as women?
Uh-huh.
What are the traditional roles? So if a guy were to put on his profile, let's use this example. If a guy were to put on his profile, I want a woman with traditional values. What would that mean to us?
Mhm.
And are we swiping left or right?
That's a great question because I guess, and kind of like I mentioned before about a trad wife, now that's somebody who is really traditional, right? Like does not want to have a job, wants to be at home and have the babies and clean the house and make the dinner and appease to every single thing that her man wants. Um so there's a big difference between that and I think having those traditional values in the sense of what I am looking for in the man. I will make you dinner. I don't have a problem doing that. I will keep up with the house, but I am still going to go to work. I am still expecting you to go to work, and I'm not going to be sitting at home doing these things, waiting for you to come home. I'm going to do it out of the kindness of my heart. And because I want to do those things for you as your partner and you've had a tough day, I want you to come home and feel like you don't need to figure out what's for dinner and I can just take care of that for you. So I think as women, we really need to figure out what those traditional values are that we are looking for and who we are in that traditional sense. Because I think I have a lot of that in me from how I was raised. So I think that I really align with somebody who does want to, do all of the chivalrous things that they do, but I need them to be, it's like that give and take, right? Like I need them to like give me what I need, but also step back a little bit and just, let me be that person too. I don't need them to plan every single date, but
Yeah.
for a man to text you and say, I'll be there to pick you up in 1 hour, put on that red dress, that hot red dress you have, we're going out, babe. That is freaking hot to me.
Yeah, and where you love that and find that hot, and I tend to be with you on that. But playing
Hmm.
devil's advocate, some like I can envision, my 27-year-old daughter would be like, "Oh, who the fuck are you trying to tell me?" No, I will tell
So
you when
funny.
and what I'm wearing, right? So I think it's so
Hmm.
nuanced. But
But is
here's
that
the
more of a
fun part.
feminist role? Is that more of a
Well,
feminist thing?
I
Where,
think I'm
because a
in the
lot of
midst
women
of
are
this.
like that.
Yeah, I'm in the
Yeah.
midst of this exploration and even just like statistically and researching the dynamics behind the fact that our generation, so I'm 51, I think we're almost the same age, right?
I'm 51. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
exactly.
the
Okay.
same.
So
Yeah.
we are trailblazers in that we
Yes.
are redefining what life after 45 looks like. And we are the first generation to
Mm.
do this, right? So we don't have a model and example ahead of us, and we're
Yeah.
setting the model and the tone for the women coming up behind us. Now, I don't want to say in defense of men, but also exists, I'm guessing, this potential confusion for the guy as this entire shift is happening, right? And our generation,
Hmm.
again, we're the trailblazers here. So the guys that we're dating, they don't have a model or a schema to reflect on for this either, right? Of like, wait a
Right.
minute. Okay, so we can't be super traditional, but they do want some traditional, but I have to create space for the feminine and the masculine and let them make their own rules. And like, wait, what does all of this look like?
Hmm.
So I can understand some confusion from their part, where from our perspective, all the women that I've talked with, all the women that I work with, and myself, my own personal experience is that this is so exciting that we get to redefine and reframe this on
Hmm.
our kind of on our own terms, right? The
Yeah.
sky is the limit. We are no longer like, oh my gosh, I'm 51. My life's almost over. My career's almost over. What am I going to do? I need a partner to sit and rock on the porch with for the rest of my days. No, we're like, oh, I'm 45. I'm 51. I'm 70. I have a client who's 70 who just started a business, actually almost 72, I think.
Wow.
So we get to do whatever we want. But now, those of us who are single and dating, we're trying to morph like, okay, so what is a relationship going to look like in this?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a
Yes.
super cool, exciting space for us as women. And I'm guessing for a lot of men too. And I get that feedback actually from some guys of like, hell yeah, this is so cool to watch. Like, I wish my mom had this, and I'm thankful my daughters will have
Oh,
this.
I love
Right.
that.
But for them to kind of try to navigate that too, I think, now don't hear me in saying that, like, let us step back and feel sorry for them. Like, no one
No.
confuse that is what I am saying here, because it's not. Because just as we are having to figure out what it looks like to be a trailblazer, they're going to have to figure out
Hmm.
what it looks like to walk alongside a trailblazer.
Yes. Well, and that comes along with everything that I'm saying about like these lazy men that do not want to make these efforts. I have said it multiple times that I think it's a very difficult time for men out there. Very much of everything you just said. They don't really know where their place is, right? Like they want to be chivalrous. They want to hold the door. They want to put us on the inside. And there's people like me that love that. And I find that super attractive. But there's a lot of women, like your daughter, you mentioned, she may be like, I can open my own door. I don't need you to pay my bill. I don't, all of those things. And so it's very tricky for men to navigate that and to be like, okay, well, is this girl going to want that or is this one not? And then they're having to kind of morph to that a little bit, right? And change themselves to be a certain way. So I do want to say that I think it's very, very tricky for men out there. And so all I can say to that is, men, step up your game like us women are, right? Like
Well,
we are
exactly.
making these. Yeah.
To take this conversation full circle, exactly the work that you've done to get to where you
Mm-hmm.
are. We are clear in what we want. We are
Mm-hmm.
unapologetic and we are showing
Yeah.
up wholeheartedly, holistically, our entire being. They
Yeah.
just need to do the same work if they want to attract that level of partner and have an incredible relationship with an incredible woman who is a trailblazer and redefining what life looks like for the next however many decades we have left on this planet. It's big.
Yes.
It's incredible.
It's
And we are
big.
beyond. I'm so excited to be a part of this generation. I think
Yeah.
it's incredible. Again, this is the work I do across the board, financially, physically, relationally, professionally,
Yep.
spiritually, emotionally, cognitively, in every single area. We get to discover and explore and
Yeah.
live out all of that.
Yes. Yes. And even, since I've known you, for those of you who we've talked about how we met before, we actually met through what,
We met
Facebook?
on a dating app.
Facebook.
I love it.
We met as friends, to join, and we just connected right off the bat. We had so much in common, and we've just remained such great friends, which I love. And we went and traveled together and all this stuff. So super fun for anybody who's looking to do that. Find yourself a friend.
Facebook
But
dating. Friend,
Facebook dating.
what did we say? What was it? Like the friend connection? I can't even remember what it was
Yeah, I
called.
think you can pick if you want to do friends or not.
Yeah,
And same on
exactly.
Bumble. You can pick friendship or
Okay,
dating
yeah.
if you're just
Oh yeah, the
looking,
BFF, the
yeah,
Mumble
looking to
BFF. Yeah.
find someone. Yeah. And so since I've known you, I mean, you have been such a light for me in all this area because you also walk the walk and you've done that. Whether you've talked in the past about your relationship with somebody that you're with, and you've always kind of not let it like control everything you do. You have like been working on your businesses, everything, your coaching, all of that stuff has worked so well for you as well. And it puts you in a place where hey, this is what I'm looking for right now. And if that doesn't work, then so be it, right? And we've done
Okay,
this.
Andrea, you're gonna make me. I said I wasn't going to talk about this,
I
and
was
here we
trying to be
go.
vague. I was
You
trying
were
to
being
be
big.
very
Thank you for
vague.
honoring that request. But let me come back. Listen, full
Yes.
transparency, because that's how we all learn and grow and get new perspectives,
Yes.
right? So,
Yes.
I believe a couple of things. Number one, full fucking permission, which is what each of us
Amen.
possesses. Full
Yes.
fucking permission for whatever it is that we want. Again, assuming there is
Agency, my
no
friend.
intentional harm. Yes. Awareness, acceptance, agency, action. That is my life framework.
Yep.
Yeah. So assuming there's no intentional harm to other humans, that part. Okay. So,
Yeah.
I made the ask within a partnership that I am exploring right now where it was a probably considered somewhat traditional relationship in the past. And I knew that's not what was going to work. So there was an ending of the relationship and then a coming back under certain circumstances. We started conversing again. And I just made the ask of like, hey, this is, mad respect. We're always going to be best friends. Super great guy. But this is where I'm at. This is what I would like in my life right now. If you're open to that, these are kind of the parameters of what I would like the relationship to
Love
look like.
this.
And this person decided, yeah, I'm in. And so that is what we are doing. There's nothing traditional about how the relationship looks. It's semi undefined at this point. But he does offer chivalry. He's a Southern gentleman. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the traditional things that you're saying, but also he is my biggest cheerleader, right? There's full support for every endeavor, every crazy business idea that I explore. And my constant need for upping the bar and the next
Yeah.
physical challenge and all the things. So my point being, don't be afraid to ask, do what we've talked about.
What you want.
Andrea has said, get clear, ask for what you want, and trust that there is no fear around if it doesn't align. If it's, there's no fear around something ending. You
Yeah.
mentioned you were dating someone recently, it didn't work out. Um, there's so much growth, there's so much awareness, there's so much
Yes.
possibility, and I fully believe that you can choose to come out stronger, and that is exactly what we have both done. So I
Yes,
love
I
it.
love that. Okay, question for you. So
Yeah.
was there fear, or when you came to this realization of everything that you needed for this alignment in your life and where you're at now, did you have any fear or apprehension that he was not going to be on board with that? Were you like,
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, there was, I mean, I don't know about fear, apprehension, hope. There was hope that
yeah.
that it would work out. But I just discovered that, and so many of us, in our age range and in this season of life, dating, maybe rebuilding after divorce, maybe career pivots, all of those things. It's I have to, I had to learn to trust myself. I think what originally was the impetus for me to ask for this shift in the relationship. A
Mm,
large part of it was that I didn't feel like I had the capacity to fully pour into all the areas. I mean, I'm trying to reach physical goals that I've never achieved, right? I'm trying to reach
mm.
financial goals that I've never, like, all of my goals are crazy high. It's delusional. I like to stay delusional. And so I had this fear of like, but I can't be in a relationship and do all of this.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. What if we just tweak what our expectations of the relationship are? What if we don't have to
Mm,
follow traditional guidelines, values, and cultural standards, and we get to make it our own?
mm.
And so that's what I decided to do. And so far, so good.
Oof. I love that. I love that. So you were a little like, oh, great. Did you have to tweak
Yeah.
anything, or was he like, yep, I'm on board?
Well, he was, yep, I'm on board. And then there's really constant check-in, like, hey, how's this feeling? Right. Because it's a brand new
Okay,
territory for both
great.
of us. So we're trying to be very respectful of, like, old things that come up, maybe some insecurities or things like that. And really communicating through those, stepping away, taking the space to process without feeling like you're in this like 24/7 attached at the hip, like living
Yes.
together or things like that. It's just a really beautiful space for exploration and discovery, both with
Mm,
each individual and as we're co-creating this relationship.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for talking about it. I was trying to like get around it because since you and I have met, you've demonstrated a lot of this though with him, or with other people that you were when you were dating other people, right? Like I've seen this from you, and so I wanted to make sure that I shared that and expressed that, because you are such a light in that field where you are just like, I am who I am, and these are the things that I'm looking to do and where I want to go and where I see myself. And you take no prisoners, girlfriend, and you're just like, I'm doing it. So I just wanted to really highlight that, because we were talking a lot about me and what I've done, but you were right there with me, and you've always been that constant right there, that I know when I talk to you about something, like you're going to give me the answer, that it's not like some gibberish feed my ego answer. You like tell me straight up. And so that's how I know you are in your relationships as well. You're just like, this is me, this is who I
Yeah,
am.
it's a beautiful place. I think, again, as trailblazers, Mary Oliver poses the question, what is it you're going to do with this one wild and precious life? And to not
Yeah,
forget that perspective. Like, in the end, we are the only ones that are with us from our very first until our very last breath. No one else
that's
will
it.
experience every moment of life the way that we do internally. So starting there and just asking, signing your own permission slip, and then showing the universe what it is that you are requesting, and being open to
Ah,
how is it going to come to me? Who do I need to become to receive it? What is the process going to look like? How many failures and heartaches will there be along the way? And what gold will I dig from those experiences?
oh my gosh, that is so, so good. So many gems. I loved this episode because I love talking about this. And you guys, I have had some other dates. I'm just gonna put that out there, that I'm gonna come back because I got to tell Amy about these other little things. So we're gonna do that separately. We're gonna close out this episode, but I just want to say that I think the biggest takeaway from today's conversation is that there comes a point in our lives when we have to stop asking for permission to live the life that we want. Right. And whether that's in dating, whether it's your career, friendships, or how we spend our time, the rules have served us at 25 may not serve us at 45 or 55, and we talk a lot about midlife and getting older, and you work with a lot of people that are 45 and over and stuff, and it is tough. It's a hard place to be for us. Life is so different than with our parents or what we knew as younger. And we got to keep up with the times. That's what we got to do.
I think the greatest gift in this season, and ask me tomorrow, it might be a different answer, but today I would love to say that I think the greatest gift in this season is the freedom that is available to every
Yes.
single one of us. That's it.
Yes. I was just going to say that this is not a crisis. It is freedom. It is freedom for us. So amazing. Amy, thank you for joining me and reminding me of all this reinvention, that it's not something to fear, right? It's something we should be proud of. And it's like very exciting. It's an exciting time. So it's perception, how you look at things, how you see yourself. Try just switching one little thing, in yourself that makes you happy, that you're not saying, being a people pleaser about. Like, do something for you. And if you just continue to do that little baby step, it'll all come together. It'll be so good. So good. Amy, where can everybody find you because you are so fucking awesome as a coach, and people need to go and
Thank you.
call you and work with you. I love all your stuff, and you're so fully accredited. Like it's insane. This
I
girl.
got all the alphabet soup. But the thing is, what we just talked about here, it's the experience, right? It's a life experience and building the frameworks around it. And so you can find me on Facebook at Amy Watts. I am on Instagram at So She Did Life Coaching. Check it out. There's links there to, book a consult, 45 minutes, no obligation, complimentary call. Let's see what is available to you and what freedom is awaiting you.
I love it. I will have all of that in the show notes, so everybody knows exactly where to find you. And to the listeners out there, I hope you loved this conversation, because I think it was awesome. I think we gave a lot of good tips and points, and hopefully you liked my fun dating stories, and more to come on that. But you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at from.mrs.2.mez. Full videos, you guys, on YouTube. So go check us out, because we are like beaming as we're talking about this, and we just have so much fun when you can like watch us. So check it all out on YouTube. Please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. All right, you guys, that's it for this week on From Mrs. to Ms. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Ciao.